Stage here, live at EGX, day 0, day 1, I'm still not sure.
Developer day, partner day, whatever you want to call it.
Is it developer day? Is it day 0?
I like day 0 does sound kind of cool, so I'm feeling day 0.
Day 0 is cool.
Day 0 is a good game. I'm joined by a couple of gentlemen and we're showing off Q.U.B.E. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do to work on the game?
Yeah, so I'm Dan DeRoche, the Managing Director at Toxic Games, handling all of the biz dev, high-level design and that sort of thing.
I'm Benjamin Hill, and I'm the producer and writer on Q.U.B.E. too, so manage it and make sure the story's all cool.
The writer, that's, you know, you're the brains behind
behind the story, I'll say. Not the puzzles.
Not the puzzles.
So.
Well, that's a good starting point. Is that anyone that's played Q.U.B.E. It was a puzzle game based around color systems and very kind of simple kind of aesthetic. This game has made a huge jump. That's the first thing people are going to notice.
That's right.
Is the new environment in which this is set.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we really wanted to do with Q.U.B.E. when we started out was we took on a lot of feedback from the first game, what people liked, what people didn't like, and we kind of approached it from this kind of concept of, well, what is this thing and how can we build this into a grander kind of science fiction kind of world? How can we build it? How can we make it something that's really mysterious and interesting? That mystery was already in the first game, even when there wasn't a massive narrative hook, and so we wanted to build it into something kind of where what you're doing in the world actually have more meaning than just puzzles. So.
I mean, it sounds so exciting. I mean, we were saying earlier, like how big puzzle games have got recently. If you look at Q.U.B.E. itself, look at The Witness, Turing Test, you had Antechamber. How much does that limit you? Is there like, oh, that puzzle's been done already, what can we do? They've already done that puzzle with that X versus Y and the Z goes there. Is it tough to invent new puzzles, or?
I think that because we kind of come up with our own kind of like core mechanic for the game, like how we kind of are interacting with the world, that all of our puzzles naturally kind of grow from that kind of core kind of idea. So when you've got something like the Turing Test, you've got a gun and you can do specific things with it, all those puzzles kind of grow out of that. Whereas with Q.U.B.E., you're making big blocks in the world. It's kind of an abstract kind of concept, right? Yeah. So, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we're going to see some footage here of the game itself. I mean, that's one thing that, having played puzzle games a lot, I'm a big fan. Is it's such a balance between making it too easy, where you don't get that satisfaction, oh, that's easy, or making it too tough where you get stuck and quit.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, how is that? Is that something you just work on and with testing, or?
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, in the first game, there were several mechanics that were only used for one time or 3 puzzles, and that didn't really work long term. But in this, we've got this hub area, so you can come and do a puzzle, and if you get stuck on it, then you can try a different room instead of rage quitting straight away.
That's cool.
So it gives players more retention, and they can come back and then try that puzzle again afterwards.
So you're not forcing people to stick with the same puzzle, but at the same time there must be some kind of learning curve as well. So does it get more difficult quite quickly, or?
It's pretty gradual to begin with. You're learning one cube after the other. It's quite simple, and then you'll be using that in new contexts and learning the different ways.
I like the idea of not rage quitting because this level is just too hard. That's cool. Yeah.
I've done that quite a few times in puzzle games. I'll get to a point, like there's been a few puzzles in The Witness, a few puzzles in Antechamber as well. I was like, I just have to walk away before I get angry. And I refuse to spoil myself, especially with Twitch. Puzzle games can be quite tough to stream on Twitch because either people have played it before and they give you the example or the answer, or they will try and work it out for you, and then that moment of revelation, which is such an important thing in these games, and I think one of the most powerful things in gaming, let alone in puzzle games, just when you discover something or realise, that sometimes can be removed. So I think when I stream this, I might have to do it in a emote-only chat just so people don't spoil.
Yeah, I think they've got one of the kind of opposite ideas to that with puzzle games is that speedrunning and stuff like that's really interesting, right? Yeah. So how fast can you, actually kind of get through these puzzles? How fast can you kind of solve them? And kind of. Are there any shortcuts? Are there any kind of areas that are you haven't been able to do before? So.
Is that something you're going to engineer into it? There's a quick solution to a puzzle. I know in Portal, for example, there's some puzzles you can do by completely skipping the mechanic and doing a couple of things. I know the speed run for this game, there's been people speedrunning Q.U.B.E. 1, wasn't there? That was well speed run. Is that something you're designing into this one?
So in Q.U.B.E we also had against the clock sort of mode that really tested people and had time trials and that sort of thing. We haven't got anything in the game for that at this point in time, but we will be doing things with Steam achievements and so forth if they can do it in the quickest time.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people don't need an excuse to speedrun. They just need the mechanics and the game, and if it's fun, they'll speedrun it. And
Yeah.
So like, I'm a guy who's never played Q before. I have no idea what's going on. So do you want to just like let the Twitch chat know sort of like the basics about this game and what's going on right now?
Yeah, so the 3 basic cubes in this game are the red cube, which extrudes out and it's like a step, the blue cube, which launches you from A to B, and then the green cube can only be manipulated by other cubes, but it's a physics object, and you have to get it into the right position to, be able to use it. And then we add like rotational elements and different mechanics, even fire, water, and gas later on.
Okay.
To really mix things up. We've got rid of the yellow cube though from the first game.
Right.
Because we thought, okay, you could actually just use the red cube as an elevator and stand on it instead of getting the right.
Right, so you can like pull that up whilst you're standing on that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
okay.
So it didn't actually make sense.
So it's the combination of these elements to try to just get through the levels.
That's right.
Step by step, right.
And the key difference between Cube 1 and 2 is that you can actually place cubes now, whereas Cube 1 they were all predefined.
Right.
So it definitely adds much more.
That's going to add a whole layer of complexity. Just that one little mechanical shift going to be like filters all out in terms of complexity. And then when you add that and pair that to now you've got this deep story and lore and things going on. Is that going to inform the puzzles as well? Is there going to be like, it's not just here's the story and here's the puzzles, they're kind of intertwined? Yeah,
kind of side by side, because we did a version called Cube Director's Cut, and the game was already there, so we had to somehow work the story into that. And I think given the challenge, we did an all right job. But now it's built from the ground up with that story, thanks to Ben being involved.
So what is the basic premise of the story then? Let's talk story.
Yeah, sure. So you play as this archaeologist called Amelia Cross, and you've awoken on this very strange kind of alien planet. So the first game was kind of set in space within this kind of strange vessel. Okay. And as you kind of progress through that, you're trying to figure out, are you in space, are you not in space? So in this game, we wanted to kind of expand the world a lot and try and think about, well, what happens if this wasn't in such a limiting space? If we can expand it, we can have multiple environments. So you play as Millie, you wake up on this alien planet, but you've no idea how you actually got there. You think you may have crash landed. The last thing you remember was being on Earth at an archaeological dig site, uncovering some strange kind of artifacts or whatever.
Okay.
And
wow.
When you wake up in this kind of cubic kind of monolith, you are contacted by an astronaut called Emma. And she says that she's like military personnel.
Don't trust her. Already, do not trust her. No.
You've kind of figured it out. So you're kind of in this situation. Is she a friend or is she a foe? She kind of knows all the information about the gloves that you're kind of using, and she basically says that you must have been on the vessel from the first game. You've been in cryo sleep, and you need to meet up with her to find a way to get back home. So that's kind of the starting point. And so we want it to be mysterious. We want you to kind of be thinking about, actually, what is this place? What is this thing? And actually, am I on an alien planet, or am I potentially somewhere else? So
I guess that's where the multiple environments comes in. So maybe later on we'll see a bit more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay.
If you've not played the first Cube, you'll be able to go straight into this one, or
absolutely. So one of the things that we really wanted to do was make sure that it's a standalone story. So you're playing as a new character compared to the first game. So you're playing as a brand new character in a brand new situation. If you played the first game and you kind of enjoyed it, you'll get an awful lot of like little Easter eggs, little bits and bobs that will expand the universe. But if you've never played it, then you'll learn about the first game, you'll learn about those events, and it's a standalone experience. So. And mechanically, we teach everything from the ground up. This is a tutorial, like a tutorialized area of the game where the puzzles are a little bit easier and like more kind of procedural. They get a lot tougher after this kind of area.
This is like the super basics right now.
Yeah. So this is actually when we demo the game, this is the first puzzle that people kind of get stuck on. So.
I mean, that's the thing as well, I'm a big fan of critical theory in games. I love to pontificate and analyse. Yeah. And there's always that thing where you've got to be taught the mechanics of the game. Yeah. And as a game designer, you have to make sure the player gets it.
That's right.
You have to introduce it in a certain way. They've got that, they can pass to the next room. I imagine a puzzle game, that must be so tough to make, organic. to not make it like, here is the tutorial,
obvious,
this is how you solve this puzzle, and but when it works, it's almost as fun as the game itself, the tutorial.
That's
like
it.
you know, in Portal or in like Super Meat Boy, you don't even notice that you're getting taught the game, you know. And I feel like, you know, a game like this, you're already solving puzzles, but this is a tutorial to teach you about the further puzzles. There's not that kind of, oh, this is the end of the tutorial, now here's the game.
Bam. Yeah.
Exciting. You know, I love puzzle games. I spent about 60 hours playing The Witness.
Wow.
Still haven't finished it. I think I finished it, but not really. I'm the same with Q.U.B.E. I never finished because it got to one puzzle I got stuck on.
That puzzle,
and I refused to look up spoilers and cheats.
Right, sure.
It was the same with what was the game by Jonathan Blow before?
Braid.
I got stuck on Braid about halfway through, never completed it.
That was so hard though.
Because I get stubborn. I get to a point where if I can't solve it, I'm not going to look up the answer. Is there going to be puzzles like this in this game where, you know, at certain stages it's going to be like I have to sit and work this out for half an hour?
I mean, there were some ones in Cube 1 that was, like you said, super intense. I think once you've got to that point, you understand it, it should be okay. I mean, I don't know about you.
I think we reuse our mechanics a lot more in this game.
Okay.
So we only have a limited tool set. You just have these red, blue, and green kind of blocks, and then you combine those with technologies in the world. So you never get to a point where you've only just been introduced to something and you don't know how to interact with it. You're like, well, I know how to interact with simple kind of, you know, white kind of panels within this world, and I know exactly, you know, how I need to use these in some kind of capacity. So you're already kind of halfway through that kind of problem-solving kind of process. So as through the experimentation process, you experiment.
Right.
I think it's going to be a little bit easier to find out.
Awesome. Sadly, that's all we've got time for today. It's coming out on...
It's coming out early next year, so in the first quarter.
And all systems?
It's coming out on PC, Xbox One, PS4.
Awesome. We're going to be checking out a trailer now. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with the release. Cheers. Keep it tuned right here on Twitch. We've got so much content left to come, including a trailer for this game. We're watching